Dudes of Divination, back with Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Today we're going to look at the Rogue. Where's Nappa, you might ask? He's around. He just has a higher stealth and you have passive perception. Okay, the Rogue. When you think of a Rogue, what do you think of?
A guy who likes to hide behind stuff and stab him in the back.
Yeah, that is pretty much the quintessential Rogue. This, however, gives you 4 new archetypes that are not so quintessential. I like that word. The 4 are the Swashbuckler, Mastermind, Inquisitive, and Scout. If we're going by the picture on page 45, nice art there. I'm going to spare the time.
I'll talk about the art then.
Okay.
You have 4 pictures for the art. It starts with the Swashbuckler, then the Mastermind, then the little Inquisit, and the Scout. If anyone noticed, the Scout is wearing handcuffs, and he broke out of jail, so they're looking for him.
Mm-hmm. And the Mastermind has bad shoes.
Yeah, I didn't like the shoes. They're probably not really good for your arch support, so you might want to go see your shoe doctor.
Dr. Scholl's.
There you go, that's what I was thinking of.
You don't like the shoes? I don't like the archetype. But let's talk about the Inquisitive first.
They were different. They felt like the old skill needy rogue. So they want all the skills. They want to be able to percept, listen, spot, all the old 3.5 terms. I like how they did it to where if you can get a good enough perception on your enemy, you get your sneak attack bonus, which makes them feel like you could be a kind of like a Sherlock Holmesy style person. To where
yeah, exactly. That's what I think of a lot with this. You get some things like the ear for deceit when you make an insight check to discern if someone is lying. If you roll anything lower than an 8, it is just treated as an 8. And Sherlock Holmes is very good at that.
He's really good at rolling 8s or above.
Yeah. If you've ever played D&D with Sherlock.
Also, the eye for detail. It just allows you to, as a bonus action, make a perception, wisdom perception check in 5e against a hidden creature or object, and it just seems, if you're in the middle of a battle, it seems really nice to have that. Not have your player just stand there for a round and be like, is anything else coming? He's just
right.
like, all right, eyes always on a pivot.
Mm-hmm. You also at level 3, all 3 of these are level 3, by the way, which is nice to get 3 abilities at level 3. You get the Insightful Fighting, and you get a bonus action. You make an insight check, opposed by a deception check, and if you succeed, you can use your sneak attack, even if you don't have advantage, which is nice. I mean, you don't always have advantage, and rogues really depend on advantage to deal any of their damage, which that's what you're here for.
What's really nice about the Insightful Fighting is it lasts for a minute, or until you or until you target someone else with the ability. So that's 10 rounds. If hopefully it doesn't take you 10 rounds with sneak attack damage, but you never know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could just be a big mound of hit points, like a troll.
Just a big old Trask,
just the rogue soloing a Trask. Not advised.
For the Inquisitive, I felt it was the only rogue archetype that really kind of meshed its abilities together. All the other ones seemed kind of like they get this ability, and then later they get this ability, and then this last ability will kind of hook up with that first ability. Like, it just seems like they're getting a whole bunch of random abilities. Versus the Inquisitive, at 9th level, you get to get advantage on your wisdom, perception, and intelligence investigation checks if you have not moved more than half your speed in a turn. So, rogues, you kind of think of like the slinky person, but if you're kind of being the inquisitive, being the investigator, it would make sense to kind of post up, and spot out for the rest of your party.
Right, this is a rogue that is not going to rely so much on stealth in order to be effective.
Definitely not.
You're probably going to want to be out in the forefront of things.
Maybe in the middle.
I mean, if you're the one who's doing the perceiving and the investigating, you obviously don't want to charge first into combat before your fighter or your barbarian, but when you're like walking order, you're probably going to want to be going first because you're going to be most perceptive and just most aware. They also get the unerring eye, which sort of is like a supernatural ability almost. Like they can sense. At 13th level, they can sense the presence of illusions, shape changers not in their original form, and other magic designed to deceive the senses within 30 feet, provided you aren't blinded or deafened. So if there is a changeling that is posing as somebody else, you can be like, nope, that's not a real person. And there's no roll for it, you just get to do it. Which may be situational, it depends on the campaign, but it is a pretty neat ability when you would get to use it.
Yeah, it helps you, like, if you get to, like, a dead end, and that, like, hidden door is stuck behind, like, a wall of illusion or something, and you can just cast it. The Unerring Eye doesn't let you see what's beyond the illusion, it just kind of, like, highlights the illusion.
Just tips you off.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of, like, the hazy stuff on, like, a hot day on the road. Sure. It's just like hazy, so you'd see something kind of like that. And then there's 17th level ability I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because, again, I really think the Inquisitive is the only one that has all the abilities kind of like together.
I'm a pretty big fan of it, honestly. It might be my favorite of the four.
Yeah. When you use your Insightful Fighting, which is to gain your sneak attack on someone for the minute, that was the level 3 ability. This increases your sneak attack damage by 3d6. So it's not increase 2, it's increase by. So you get an additional 3d6. I think that's something that people could easily skip over if they're speed reading it. So you get your whatever your normal sneak attack bonus is, which is at level 17. I think it's what, a d8 or 2d8s or something like that.
No, it's a huge pool of d10s or d6s. It's probably approaching 10 d6s by now.
Okay, so the 13 d6s of dice for just your sneak attacks, which you don't need advantage because of the Insightful Fighting. So again, the Inquisitive is very mesh, very tightly made. It was probably my most enjoyed class archetype for the rogue. The rest of them, like they had really cool abilities, but they didn't seem as well thought out, I don't think.
Right. We started on a high note with the Inquisitive. Let's move to a low point. In my opinion, I don't know if there are mastermind players out there that would like to comment and say you're wrong because this, I would love to hear it, because I like to hear arguments as to why something that I don't think is good might be good. And if you change my mind, I'll let you know. But the mastermind sort of let me down. I like the idea of it. Like the spy type, poisoner, like your words are as sharp as your knife. It's just the abilities that it get doesn't necessarily reflect that as well as I think it could have.
Yeah, definitely. Your 3rd level ability is Master of Intrigue and Master of Tactics. The Master of Intrigue just gives you a whole bunch of like ability or a whole bunch of proficiencies. So you get proficiency in the disguise kit, the forgery kit, and 1 gaming set of your choice. You also get to learn 2 languages, which is kind of neat.
That is good.
Just at 3rd level, you just all of a sudden become, can speak in tongues. And then it also gives you the Master of Tactics, which was kind of a neat. It's kind of a neat ability. You can use a help action as a bonus action, so you're giving someone else that help, and they don't
Sure.
have to be within 5 feet of you. They can be within 30 feet of you. But
It sort of makes you like bard-ish a little bit.
yeah, but at that point, why don't you just, as a rogue, you think of rogue as a classical like kind of that striker position, that
Somebody off by themselves.
yeah,
Right.
that damage dealer. So as mastermind, you're kind of giving up that role, which again, to your point, it makes them feel more like a bard. Like mastermind should have almost been like a bard class.
Right,
Kind
and in some ways, the rogue and bard, depending on the setting that they're in and the way that they're played, are pretty similar classes. I mean, one has magic, one doesn't.
Yeah.
One has sneak attack, one doesn't. That's probably a topic for a different video. But I do agree with you that this could have been a bard archetype or a bard college, as they're called.
Probably a better bard college.
At 9th level, you get Insightful Manipulator. You spend a minute observing a creature outside combat, and you can learn certain information about its capabilities compared to your own. So it's sort of a metagamey thing. I don't really like things like this.
Yeah, and not only that, but they let you learn dumb ability scores. They let you learn intelligence score, wisdom score, charisma score, or class levels, if any. Like,
Right, and
like those are kind of the dummy stats.
but I guess at that point, it's sort of on the DM to be like, if you just straight up say, what's its intelligence score, the DM could say, oh, well, its intelligence is 17. Or the DM could sort of go like a roundabout way, like you observe this creature, you see the way that it interacts, and you can see that it is highly intelligent, probably more so than you. That I like, but just saying, all right, 13 intelligence, 17 wisdom, 18 charisma, and it's 7th level bard.
right,
I don't like that so much.
right, yeah, it's something.
And it's right, and not only that, it's a 9th level ability, and it's a pretty underwhelming 9th level ability.
When do you need to know someone's intelligence or wisdom score or charisma score as a rogue? You don't. Like, it's not
Yeah.
something you need. So it seems like something it seems really situational. Like, it seems like every class has that situational ability, but this is like the peak of situational abilities. The 13th level ability is misdirection.
Drunken Master throwback.
Yeah, which seemed kind of lazy.
Watch the monk video.
Yeah, if you want to know what it does, just go watch our video. No, it lets you, when you're almost hit with an attack, as a reaction, you can have it hit someone within 5 feet of you, as long as it's granting cover against the attack.
It's a good ability,
Yeah, it's very good for a rogue.
but you get no other combat abilities up until that point.
No.
So you probably are not going to be or you're not going to want to be in combat enough to use misdirection.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely a. Well, he doesn't even have a bow. Well, this rogue's weird.
Doesn't have a weapon. That's what
They're
you do.
misdirecting you.
Yeah.
By not showing you a weapon.
Soul of Deceit, the big cap ability, level 17. If you succeed on a charisma check against the caster, your thoughts cannot be read. Let's move on to the scout.
The scout was very reminded me of like a ranger. It seemed like
I like it. I like the scout.
I did too. It seems like, going back to our older videos, it seems like these three classes, the mastermind, the scout, and the swashbuckler, were all three things that kind of, like, if you were missing that one class, this class could kind of like half fill that role for you.
Sure.
So like the scout makes me feel kind of like the ranger. Lets you kind of half fill that ranger tracker.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the rogue makes sense as a scout as much
True.
as a ranger does.
Yes.
They're stealthy. They're generally perceptive.
Yeah, but when you think scout, when you think rogue, you think cities, and when you think ranger, you think forests, wilds.
And the scout gives you a little bit of that nature flavor without giving up the city stuff that is already built into the base rogue.
Yes.
At 3rd level, you get Skirmisher. You can move up to half your speed as a reaction when an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of you. And this movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. I think that this is great.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Misty Step Jr. If you don't want to get surrounded, so
Right.
if you're fighting a guy and his buddy comes up behind you and hits you in the back, you can be like, nope, and run half your speed away.
Or even better, when you're engaged with a guy and your fighter comes up next to you, you can sneak around. You can get around behind them, use it offensively.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it kind of both ways. And the fact that it's a reaction, so you're not losing your action economy, is just
Right, and I don't think that rogues get a ton of reactionary abilities anyway, so
No.
this is probably just going to be a reaction as a scout.
right. The next level, or the next 3rd level ability is Survivalist, which gives you, if you didn't already have proficiency with nature and survival, you get them now, and then your proficiency bonus is actually doubled for those skills. So it fits that, you're scout, you're ahead of the vanguard, you're scouting out the stuff. You're scouting out the stuff. Oh man, I'm saying scout a whole bunch for this scout.
In many ways, with this survivalist ability, you're going to out-ranger the ranger with your doubled proficiency bonus. And probably if you're a scout, you're going to have a high wisdom, so your perception's going to be high, or you'll have a high wisdom so your perception can be high, and then your survivalist abilities will benefit from that as well. This has a lot of synergy also.
Yes, it definitely does. The 9th level ability is your walking speed is increased by 10 feet. And
Helps Skirmisher.
Right, and then if you are climbing or swimming or flying, anything else like that, whatever it is, your normal thing you're doing, that also buffs that. So you don't lose it if you jump in the.
If you have the speed. If
Yeah.
you have a built-in swim speed, your swim speed increases by 10 feet. If you have a climb speed, your climb speed increases by 10
Right, so if you're a Gripply and you have climb speed.
Yeah. Or a merfolk with a swim speed.
Yeah.
Ambush Master is a 13th level ability. You have advantage on initiative rolls, which is great. In addition, the first creature you hit during the first round of combat becomes easier for you and others to strike. Rolls against that target have advantage until the start of your next turn.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think that the scout just came in, swooped, Tarzan'd in, and just hit the guy right in the hamstring, and he's just limping there, and the rest of your party comes in
and then orders a charge, and everybody can come in and take out this one guy.
Yeah, so that I really like the Ambush Master. To be fair, I like the Scout almost as much as I like the Inquisitive, but I definitely like the Inquisitive, I think, a little better than the Scout.
I just like the flavor of the Inquisitive.
That's true.
Most, for me. And 17th level is the Sudden Strike. You can take an additional attack as a bonus action at level 17. And this attack can benefit from your sneak attack even if you've already used it this turn. So you have the potential to roll 22 d6s of damage if you hit both of these sneak attacks at level 17.
Yep, but the sneak attacks, to clarify that, they have to be at 2 different targets. So, because a creature can only be affected by a sneak attack once per round. So, at level 17 you have those extra attacks, and then you get that bonus attack, which can additionally get your sneak attack. So, you just jump in between, you skirmish in between 2 people, attack one, slice the other one.
Ideally drop one.
Yeah. I mean, with 13 plus, or 10d6.
Yeah,
of
however
sneak
many
attack
many d6s you're rolling, you just have a huge pool of dice that you can throw out there in your turn.
Yeah, the Scout seemed very solid. I liked the Scout, and it is one of the ones which, again, so if the Scout is half Ranger, half Rogue, the Swashbuckler / Pirate is half Fighter, half Rogue.
Right.
They're a pirate. Let's be honest.
Or a duelist.
They're a pirate. They put their eye patch on and they make you walk the plank.
I like to think of them as a duelist. I don't really like the name Swashbuckler because I feel like it sort of pigeonholes people into, oh, I'm a pirate. Yar. Like, I feel like if somebody is like, I want to make a character who's a pirate, they're going to see Swashbuckler and be like, oh, that's it. Even if that's not really what they want to do. Not to say that that's not a good idea, because it does fill that role perfectly fine. They get fancy footwork at 3rd level, which is sort of like spring attack if you go back to like 3-5. You can make an attack against a creature, and then that creature can't make opportunity attacks against you for the rest of your turn. And so, essentially, if you don't use all of your movement, it's like a run-by attack, which is what Spring Attack was. You can move 10 feet up, attack, keep going. You can't make opportunity attacks against you.
Yeah. It's a very strong ability. It was strong back then, definitely strong now.
And you don't need 4 feats to get it anymore, so just get it at level 3.
Right? Oof, that's dangerous. The other level 3 ability is Rakish Audacity. I like that name. I like the name for Rakish Audacity. You get to add your charisma modifier to your initiative rolls. So you're adding your dex. Well, you're a rogue. That's your highest thing. Swashbuckler, you're probably going to want to put some points in.
You can be flashy, sure.
Yeah. So let's see. That's a +8 potentially to your.
Potentially, if you max them.
Yeah. +8 to your dex or to your initiative rolls. And then not only that, but it allows you to do an additional way to use your sneak attack, to where as long as you are within 5 feet of your creature, there's no other creature within 5 feet of you, and you don't have disadvantage, you get sneak attack. It's kind of wordy, and you gotta think about it, but as long as you get the guy alone, and to Brandon's point, if you're dueling, you're swashbuckling. As long as you're dueling the person, you get advantage, or you get sneak attack.
The swashbuckler wants to fight by himself against opponents who are also by themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where they're going to succeed, and that's where they're going to probably be able to beat most things that they come into contact with.
Right? They're the guys who run out in the battle and be like, 1v1 me, bro!
Which is very fightery, or maybe even paladin-y, but there's no...
Let's not bring the paladin down.
Yeah, we don't need to get back on the Avatar talk.
Oh no. The 9th level ability is weird. Panak, if you pass a perception or charisma persuasion check against their wisdom insight check, they immediately become non-hostile towards you. It reminds me of like the pirate. I'm just gonna call the swashbuckler a pirate. It's just gonna happen.
I think most people are.
He just throws that white flag up. Parlay, parlay. That's essentially what that ability does.
Yeah. You get elegant maneuver at 13. You can use a bonus action to gain advantage on the next acrobatics or athletics check you make during the same turn. Like a pirate, back to the point that you made, you can do some flashy stuff with acrobatics and athletics. You can swing on ropes, Peter Pan your dagger into a sail of a ship and slide down. Endless possibility.
There was 2 things. That wasn't endless.
Well, I could keep going.
Let's move on.
This video is lengthy.
The level 17th is Master Duelist. It should be called Master Pirate. It lets you, if you miss an attack roll, you can
get a ship and a crew.
Right? You can roll it again with advantage. So you miss with your attack, you get to just riposte back and attack again. It kind of reminds me of the Arcane Archer. When you miss your shot, you get to redirect your target.
And rerolls are huge. I mean, rerolls are...
It's not just a reroll though; it's a reroll with advantage.
Right.
So
it's like a double reroll.
Yeah, it definitely fits the pirate very well to where they like, oh, I missed, but haha, I hit you really hard.
Yeah, and I mean, you get it once per rest.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But it's still good. Maybe not as good as the Eye for Weakness from the Inquisitive, but definitely better than not being able to have your mind read. Anyway, that's been the Rogue. From Xanathar's Guide to Everything, they had 4. No other classes had 4, so the Rogue's getting some love.
Or something.
Or something. Join us next time for the Sorcerer. And until then, we'll see you at this table.